In this video, I'm gonna go from something in my brain to something on the computer with the Cessna 172 shell. That's the main goal, and I'm gonna show you about 3 ways I did it. I kinda struggled through it, and I'd just like to show you kind of my train of thought. I have about an hour of free time, and I'm going to start the Cessna 172 CADing. I have a few pictures and diagrams. I have the principal dimensions, just an image I found. I believe it's in the POH. I also have the cabin height measurements. This will help me shell out what I actually need. I also have the POH. The weight and balance provides a lot of very valuable information. But there's also cabin width dimensions, which will be insanely helpful. This will help with the bulkheads and just give a little bit more zing. I found this diagram in the aircraft maintenance handbook, and it helps give the entire profile because my simulator is also going to have section 1 just for general management in here, as well as a lot of the wiring. So I'm going to save this image, and then we're gonna upload it into Fusion 360, and this will be 0-1 for shell and structure, C172 side profile area sections. I'm also going to take a screenshot of this with snipping tool so I have my own images, and I know this specifically is for the Cessna 172R, so we are good to go. I'm going to save this. Excellent. This is a canvas, and I'm going to scale this image up to get real dimensions from within a few inches or so. This image I already saved. I'm going to scroll down and get this image. I want to zoom in as much as I can to get the highest quality image, and we can take a screenshot. That looks perfect. Save it. 0-1 measurement. I'm going to hide bookmark bar just so we have ever so slightly more room. Take another screenshot. Super zoomed in because we want the highest quality image we can get. This is 0-1, and it'll be cabin height measurements. What we have now is we have the side dimension and a series of top dimensions. Right here you'll see the firewall, which is perfect, we like that. We also want a view from the front. This is where the principal dimensions come in. This is, I believe, the first few pages of the POH, and it's usually about here. Yeah, we want to take it. This does not look like a good dimensionable image. I'm gonna be completely honest. Just from looking at the 172 a fair amount, this doesn't really look right. But it might just be my brain. We don't know yet. I think the cowling, this section right here where it looks like it's split apart, is throwing me off. But we're always gonna double check. It's better to double check and find out you're right than to skip double checking and find out you're wrong, 3 years later. I can check this by putting this in front of a Cessna 172. What I can do is take this image, save it, open GIMP, import them both. Here we go. So I'm gonna just adjust the opacity really quick. And now this image is halfway opacity-ish. So it's already looking not too hot, though it might be the camera angle. We're gonna scale this to the propeller size, and then make sure the spinner is in the right spot for both of them. It looks like this Cessna 172 is a lot fatter than this Cessna 172, which I think I guessed correctly. Honestly, every picture of a Cessna 172 I've looked at up to this point from the front view looks a lot skinnier, so I'm gonna go with this drawing is a fake. He's a fake! Oh, I don't know. These images at the front of the POH for the newer models I found aren't 100% accurate, but these principal dimensions, I believe from an older POH, should be applicable. If I copy this image from the Cessna website, just paste it into here, edit the layer to 50% again,
fine, I'll just type it in. I like having it exactly 50 for some reason. Then scale it up too much, and we'll realize that this looks a lot closer. So we can see that this is a much better image than this little fat guy. Honestly, I'm going to use this set of principal dimensions. It'll hopefully just be slightly more accurate. And one more reference image I'm going to get is firewall. So I can just look at, I can look at a Cessna 172 firewall, and if there's a good photo from the front, then I can do that, use that image. If I go into the service manual, there should be a certain page with all of the sections, and should give a pretty okay view of the firewall. If only I had an organization system. Huh. Illustrated parts catalog. Okay, we're at page 62 and it doesn't look like we're getting anywhere. Oh! Here's what I was talking about. This is basically the number system I'm kind of using, which is actually, I didn't intend on it being so similar, but it actually is. Except for mine has 1 digit, 2 digits, and then, yeah. Where was this the first time I saw it? These are such big manuals, they take a while to load. Good thing I have a selfie stick. Okay, not anymore. This is like waiting for FS 2020. There we go. Ooh, chapter 6. Dimensions and areas. This is what I want. This is a good drawing of from the front view, and I can zoom in, and I can take dimensions from the other image, but actually go off of this image. It looks a lot better in terms of accuracy. So now I can take a screenshot of this image from wingtip to wingtip, and I'll have a certain dimension that I can set it to. View, no dimensions. We can add our own dimensions because we are awesome, and we have dimensions up here. This is another thing that I want to have in my simulator. These are called forward sections. They're every inch forward of the firewall is an inch. So FS00 is forward station 0, or the firewall, and that's where I start the beginning of section 2. I can use this profile along with this image to kind of just cut into space and see how big the simulator will be. Here's a rough diagram of the instrument panel. This will come in handy. I'll have to double check that this one is dimensionally accurate. My friends, here's a graphic of the firewall, and you can go take a screenshot of this too. And then this can be a graphic I use to engineer kind of the shell. Oh, I didn't spell that wrong. Right. It's okay. Another cool thing in the maintenance manual is sections where there are floor access ports. I might think of adding some, but right now it's beyond the scope of this video. So we have our bases, and it took me 30 minutes to find those sketches.
Everything I'm building today is using Fusion 360. It's a very powerful CAD program, and in fact, you can even get it for free. If you want to have a personal plan, you can have 10 designs active at once, and then you can just archive the rest, and that should get you at least started for it.
Right now we're going to go on to our data panel, Cessna 172 project version 3, section 0, and I'm just going to add the images that I need. We can select files, and if we go over to pictures, I can see all of the ones I just added. We'll want this one, don't want that one yet, we'll want this one, we'll want this one, and the front view with no dimensions. We'll also want the firewall looking forward, and it's all set in there and we can upload. Inside section 0, I'm going to make section, what is it? Section 0-1 because this is the shell. The only reason I'm having this in one folder, in the 0 folder, instead of each folder having their individual model for the shell, is because I'm going to make it all one big shell, perfect it, and then slice it down the middle like a French pizza and put it into their respective folders. First, I'm going to save this, and I'll save this as 0-1 shell, oh dear, assembly, and then this will be in section 0, and then let me put it in section 0-1. Perfect. So first, I want to make sure that this all makes sense. So the front should be where the front goes, right where the right goes. This cube just made me confused. So the front shows you the front, the back shows you the back, the right doesn't show you the right, it shows you looking at the right. Okay. Glad I'm on the same page as I am, because we're gonna make a sketch. Oh crap, I forgot. What's the origin? What is the origin? The origin will be the firewall. Should it be the midpoint of the firewall? I'm not sure. I think the midpoint of the firewall would make the most sense. I'm making it the midpoint horizontally of the firewall, because if I rip the bottom off the firewall, then the midpoint won't change, because if it was right here, that would go from being right there to being right there, and that would mess the whole design up. So it'll be midpoint of the firewall, and then a certain distance from the top of the firewall. I haven't determined which yet. And we're going to add the canvases. Let's insert canvas, and then I'm going to add the front view, no dimensions, insert. I'm going to do this on the front plane because I can. Scale it way up to the moon basically. And then I can add its origin point, and now I'll save it. I've inserted a canvas and I can set a dimension. If you'll go back to our handy dandy POH right here, we'll notice that the wingspan is 36 feet 1 inch. One thing right here I want to do is make sure we're in inches. Usually I use millimeters, but for this simulator I've decided to go with inches, at least for designing. So you have this canvas right here, and I'm actually going to calibrate it. Calibrate, and then we know that from here to here is 36 feet 1 inch. So we have this Cessna 172 right here. It's kind of staring at us, making me a little uncomfortable. So we're going to have to see the origin and move this sketch so that the propeller is on the origin. That'll make sure it's pretty much centered. And right now I'm just lining up these propeller marks with the origin, which actually works really well. And we'll save it. This origin point is defined by the propeller right now, which is, if we check, we want a solid number for this. We're going to make a sketch and then add this to our comments so that we know from the top to the propeller center point is a certain amount. So we're going to add a sketch to the front plane. Pun intended.
Right now I'm creating a line at the top of my simulator that is horizontally constrained. I'm going to measure it from here to the tip of the spinner to get the dimension for my origin.
We can then press D for dimension and then go from this line up here to this line up here and see 32 inches is almost exactly from the center of the propeller to the top of the roof. We're going to make this an exact number just for standard. That moved the top of my simulator this much, but I didn't know to start that this is actually a correct dimension. So 32 is a good number for inches, and it'll just be really easy to work with for future reference. So, boom, we've got it. I'm gonna add this to my comments because I want to know that from center raw to loop equals 32 inches. We're all good. Oh, this feels good. I'm actually going to continue this sketch I made. This time I'm going to make a few lines, some of them even curvy, to kind of trace this geometry. I'm going to do one side really well as I can do, and then flip it. We're dealing with dimensions so large that the line on the paper is about a 32nd of an inch, or a 16th of an inch, where the line in real life would be about 3 inches. I don't have the developer who made this drawing on speed dial, so I'm going to go in the middle of the lines on all lines, unless I have actual dimensions, in which case I will dimension them in. This sketch is all calibrated, so most of the dimensions we get here are going to be pretty accurate.
Now I'm just adding a few points to my model. I actually don't really need them.
And now I can use this line, then adjust it as needed. I'm doing my best to make sure that it basically lines up in the center. On the top right here, it's less than 90 degrees. It appears 90 degrees, but it's not. I'm going to try the spline tool just for the rough shape. So I'm going to click here, one of the other points I made, kind of get until it curves, and then try to curve again. And then I'm going to be finished here, basically. So I'm just manipulating this line with these two basically handles, you call them, and then that's happening.
Right now I'm just making my center line to mirror the sketch off of.
What I forgot to do in my sketch was to make this a construction line, and then also mirror part of it. Mirror, mirror, mirror on the fold. Who is the fairest of them all? Pick me, pick me. Okay, and then mirror line is this one, and then these are now mirrored, so it's a full section. Now this is the full profile. This is the first profile we have, and now I'm gonna start one right here.
Okay, I'm basically gonna repeat this entire process, but with the side view.
Basically what I'm gonna do is extrude the front thing all the way down, and then the side all the way down. And wherever they intersect, basically, is where my simulator is. So both of these conditions have to be agreed with, basically, you know.
Right now, I'm going to repeat the entire process of sketching and canvassing with the top view.
We're gonna start out by extruding this little face right here that we got from one of the dimensions. We'll want to go from two sides. This side, so that it passes the nose cone right here, and then same with this side, we're gonna want to make it pass this end of it. So we have this simulator in a block of cheese basically, and we also have some geometry right here. Let's go over to modify, split body, and then the body to split will be here, and the splitting tool will be, let's hide the bodies real quick. Splitting tool will be this. So you see what I'm trying to do here? I'm basically splitting a block of cheese into two bodies. So you have these two bodies. One of them is useful, one of them is not. See what I'm trying to do here? Then we have this block of cheese that looks a little like an airplane, but not a lot. So we're gonna go ahead and do it again. If you saw this taxiing towards you on a runway, you would be a little scared, not gonna lie. So I think I'm doing my job here. I'm gonna hide this firewall because it's making me sad. And then we can go again with the top. We're gonna repeat our split body. We're going to use the splitting tools right in the middle here and here. And those are our splitting bodies. And then the body to split is this big chunk of cheese right there. So now we press OK. And now we have what looks kind of like a car, you know, one of those old cars with the like backs kind of up just a little bit. And we have these bodies that aren't useful. This looks kind of like a simulator, not gonna lie. Not completely like a simulator. If we look, let's turn off the sketches. I think from the side you can tell it's a simulator. From the top, you couldn't regardless. But from the front, it's not looking so hot. This is pretty complicated. I got pretty far. Save it. There we go.